Speaking at a function held in Colombo today, UMP MP Eran Wickramaratne said that actual budget deficits are greater than the numbers stated in documents.
We are told that the budget deficit in 2012 is going to be 6.2%, and we are now told that the budget deficit in 2013 is going to be 5.8%. A beautiful arrangement of numbers. And you look at the letter that was signed between the IMF and the Sri Lankan government. At the end of that letter, there is a table. And in that table, in very small writing, there are notes at the bottom which says, the deficit is 6.9, but the note says, the deficit is actually in 2011, 8.6. And we have excluded the losses of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Ceylon Electricity Board. Deficits, like debt, can be easily managed, could be hidden and could be parked in different places. So deficits could be worrying because the actual deficits are bigger than the deficits that are actually stated in the documents.
The parliamentarian also shared these views at the occasion.
Now the Sri Lankan constitution is in a sense a peculiar constitution because the Sri Lankan constitution actually has a provision which allows for the constitution to be violated by law and then basically to get that violation approved. So you can violate the constitution by put forwarding a law, and then you go to court and the court will determine whether you can accept the law with a 2/3 majority in parliament or in some instances with a referendum where people actually approve the inconsistency between the law and the constitution. So the Sri Lankan constitution itself has this very unique provision which I have still not been able to find in any other constitution.
The suspect in the recent murder of a general manager of a shipping company down Marine Drive in Bambalapitiya was arrested by the Colombo Crimes Division today.
Police said that the suspect was the owner of a shop in a shopping complex in Bambalapitiya. Investigations have revealed that the motive for the murder had been a dispute the victim had with the shop owner's son. The victim, identified as Bridget DeCosta, was found with his throat slit inside his vehicle down Marine Drive. He was a resident of Polhengoda Road, Kirlapana.
Food and water was sent yesterday to those on board the impounded Malaysian ship which is anchored off the coast of Panadura. Director of Trade and Shipping Ajit Senaviratne said that food and water sufficient for a fortnight had been sent to the ship.
Our News First team observed this ship this morning. However, we could not see the vessel clearly owing to the thick mist. The vessel was taken into custody owing to the non-payment of fees to a Singaporean company by the shipping company. It was later reported that the employees of the vessel did not have sufficient stocks of food on board. The Director General of Trade and Shipping stated that 16 workers are currently on board the vessel. Ajit Senaviratne added that they could not intervene with regard to its employees as the ship is flying a foreign flag.
The overheads of the Ministry of Child Development and Women's Affairs was taken up for debate in Parliament today. Here are some of the views expressed during the debate.
I'm disappointed about the female representation in the country when it comes to making decisions. We requested female representation to be increased by at least 25%. However, this has not been done. Not only did they allocate a very insufficient amount of funds to the Ministry of Women's Affairs, they have also not carried out any women's programs. We are facing a situation where those nominated cannot win elections. I request that an opportunity be given for women to come to Parliament through the national list, similar to Pakistan, without increasing nominations. How many are here today to talk about women's affairs at this debate?
What is the point of order? Mrs. Rosi Senanayaka and Mrs. Talata Tukorela is blaming. That is the point of order. That is not a point of order.
From the time I stood up to talk, I'm a victim of his violence. We're not asking for an equal position, but we don't even have a suitable position.
මට කතා කරන්න අයියෝ දරුවන්ටත් කාන්තාවන්ටත් සලකන සැලකිල්ල තමයි මේ ආණ්ඩුව.
The consideration given by the government for women and children could be seen from the amount of funds allocated for this ministry. If someone calculates it in the manner our ministry or education calculates the amount of funds allocated for education, they can say the entire budget is dedicated to women by taking into consideration the money spent by parents on children and say both women and children are involved in it.
The mysterious deaths of women and children are increasing on a daily basis. We would like to raise a question as to why proper investigations are not being launched and the perpetrators are not brought before the law. Women have not been given the respect and position they should be given. Even if we discuss about broadening female representation in politics, if there is a public opinion that women do not work, how are we to increase representation?
As the Minister of Women's Affairs, I can say that no matter how much of funds are allocated, it would not be enough. What I should firstly say is that those who have been found guilty of child abuse and violence against women should be hanged. Then the death penalty should be brought in.
In more Parliament news, the overheads of the Ministry of Health and Indigenous Medicine was taken up in Parliament today. UMP Deputy Leader Sajith Premadasa opened the debate.
Though there is a free health policy which uses the government resources, patients have to go to private medical centres for blood and urine tests. The government hospitals give only the prescription and patients have to go to private pharmacies to obtain medicine. Today there is a serious scarcity of medicine within the country. This is being done so that medicine could be purchased outside the tender procedure.
The Maubima and Ceylon Today newspapers marked their first anniversary, giving priority to religious observances.
The Maubima and Ceylon Today newspapers, published by Ceylon Newspapers Private Limited, completed 1 year on the 18th of this month. The two newspapers have made a name for themselves amongst the public within this short period of 1 year. The main Buddhist religious observances to mark the first anniversary was held opposite the Sri Mahabodhi in Anuradhapura. The Catholic religious observances were held at the Infant Jesus Church in Slave Island recently. Blessings were also invoked on the staff of the two newspapers during the Hindu religious observances held at the Vishnu Kovil in Anderson Road, Dehiwala. The Muslim religious observances were held at the Dautagah Juma Mosque.
It's time now for the newspaper cartoon of the day.